part of the intention of this walk and talk is that perhaps if baby Maya hears our voice, she might choose to doze off. She might doze off even without choosing, which would just be wonderful. So out on a bounce with the baby, a walk with the dog, and I don't mean to brag, but I'm kind of proud of myself in this moment because I saw the moon in the sky and I read the shape of her smile and I was like, hey, that's my moon. Because when you track your lunar phase return, you just get to know the shape of the way that the moon reflected the light of the sun at the time of your beginning. So now there's many types of months. Maya and I were talking about this recently because, well, I saw the moon with Spica some time ago and she was born with the moon at that beautiful goddess star. And that's one kind of month, when the moon gets through the constellations, right, through the stars of her path. This is called a sidereal month. Sidereal meaning of the stars. And by the way, that time frame, which is 27.321 days, is pretty much the same as the period of a tropical month, which is the moon through the degrees of the tropical zodiac. There is a very slight difference between a sidereal month, star-based month, and a tropical month, tropical degree-based month, and that is due to precession. But in that short amount of time, 27 1/3 days, there is very little precession. So I think you have to get to the 1,000th decimal place to see any difference between sidereal month and tropical month. Okay, so that's really two definitions of month. Moon's consecutive alignments to a star, sidereal month. Moon's consecutive alignments to a tropical zodiac degree, which many will know as a lunar return. That's a tropical month. Now, there's also calendar month, right? Like Maya was born on June 16th. Yes, you were. Father's Day. She's not dozing. You can do it, baby. I got you. Yeah, so she was born on June 16th. So, you know, the way that you and I learn months in school, that means she was 1 month old on July 16th and 2 on August 16th, right? Well, neither of those things are astronomical. Or I should say, that thing repeated twice is not astronomical, right? Our Gregorian calendar is definitely not a precise celebration of lunar cycles at all in regards to the calculations of its months. It's not months. It is closer to sunths, because the 365 and about a quarter days feature the sun's travel through 12 signs. And if you divide that number of days in the solar year by 12, you will find that the sun spends an average of 30.44 days in a sign. Right, and this is why, by the way, the calendar alternates between months of 30 and 31. It's not precise, there's better ways to do it, but it's really just tracking sunths, tracking the sun through the signs, which brings me to a much better way to honor sunths, which is just to know the zodiac degree that hosted the travel of the sun at the time of your becoming. So Maya was born, for example, with the sun at 25 Gemini, and so she'll be 1 sunth old with the sun at 25 Cancer, and then 2 at 25 Leo, and 3 sunths old when the sun is at 25 Virgo. Okay, well, there are other types of months, like on my Storytelling Hour Wednesday, I was speaking about the black moon Lilith and the lunar apogee and perigee and the anomalistic month, which is moon getting close to Earth and then far away and close again. We talked about sidereal, tropical, well, draconic is another one to know, and that is moon in the node, so moon snaking above and below the path of the sun, as she does also every month, every draconic month. But the month that it's for me, and as we were walking, soundtracked by baby Maya coos, our plan is working, is the synodic month. Now, synod means meeting, like the monthly meeting of moon and sun in earthly skies, right? Which we call new moon. Now, new moon's really like a no moon, because unless you're on Earth in a place where you can experience a solar eclipse, and those times that come around twice a year when moon and sun, are we back? Retrograde. What I was saying is that a new moon, no moon, we don't see the moon when she's conjoined the sun, because typically it's not an eclipse. Moon is above or below the sun and just blinded by the light when the two conjoin in the zodiac, or the two meet, right? So like old and still running solely lunar calendars that keep months tuned to the phases of the moon will actually begin like the next day or 2 days after their conjunction of the moon and sun, when you can actually see the sliver crescent, Diana's bow, in the sunset west, the young moon, right? In Hawaii, they call that the Hilo moon, Hilo meaning first. So where were you born in regards to the lunar phases? All right, now the month of phases, the synodic month of consecutive moon-sun conjunctions, is like 29 and a half days. 29.53059. But who's counting, right? We are. And you can do this without counting. It's a very natural experience. So when the moon returns to the phase of your birth, you get outside and you really breathe in to the shape of her smile. And I've done this enough times that I really notice that specific shape of the moon. And so as we were out walking today, I may be embarrassed to say, I have no idea what sign the moon is in today. I was like really tracking this for an astronomy class I'm currently teaching in recent weeks, but it's been a few days, and I've allowed myself to sleep, because moon, when she's waning, rises well after sunset, depending on the phase. So it's kind of a before sunrise thing. And Maya's been letting Mama sleep in, which means Maya's been letting Daddy sleep in. So I've actually had less super early morning star walks than in recent weeks, since this one came in. Sleep, baby. Anyway, but as we were walking today, and I'm seeing her right now, I don't think you'll see the moon up here in the clouds, but it was like, wow, that's my shape. Like, that's exactly my shape. I know that curve. Okay, well, I was born with the sun in the 1st degree of tropical Scorpio and the moon at 25 Gemini. Same place as my baby's sun. It's one of our images of synastry. Let's go this way, come on. And I do happen to know that the sun is currently at the 1st degree of tropical Virgo on the royal star Regulus, the lion's heart. Huge hat club. That's a huge hat. And so I was like, hey, the sun's at the 1st degree of Virgo. I was born with the sun at the 1st degree of Scorpio. I have the moon at 25 Gemini. And that means the moon of my birth must be at 25 degrees Aries, because 25 Aries is the same distance from 1 Virgo, has 25 Gemini, my moon is from 1 Scorpio, which is a trine plus 6, 126 degrees. And I could get all into the harmonic of that, which is a fascinating thing, but not today, okay? So I really encourage you to get to know the phase of the moon to which you were born and to celebrate phase return, which will not happen in the same sign of moon sign of your birth. Most times, all right? So there's a 19-year cycle, 19 years, which they call the Metonic cycle, named after a Greek astronomer, though it was certainly imperative to the frameworks of any solely lunar calendar, including those like the Chinese calendar and the Babylonian, Akkadian, Hebrew calendar that existed well before Meton. The 19-year structure is that 19 solar years are almost exactly equal to 235 lunations. If you want a cheat code to remember that, I'll share mine. 19 is the sun card in most tarot decks. So there's your 19. And the tilt angle of the Earth is 23.5 degrees, right? So take that decimal away and you get 235. So 19 solar years, 235 lunations, meaning synodic month of phases. Okay, so if you cast your 19th solar return chart, or your 38th, or your 57th, or your 76th, or your 95th, these are all the 19s, you will see, I mean, sometimes the moon, like at the exact same degree of your natal moon, and therefore like the exact same phase to which you were born. Now, by the way, the moon will be at a different latitude, north or south of the ecliptic. That's seen in the moon's distance from the nodes. The moon will be a different size and speed. That's seen in the chart as moon's distance from Black Moon Lilith. And so, importantly, the moon can never, ever, ever reflect the sunlight the same way twice. That's how unique you are as a soul, a pure reflection of the one light in a unique way that will never repeat. However, every 19 years, and sometimes on the 8 or 11s in between, we get close, and you'll see in solar returns that you're also having a lunar return. And unlike the 19s, 1938, 57, 76, 95, it might not even be the exact same day that the moon returns as your solar return, but it'll be the day before or after. So sometimes they're closer than other times, but what I encourage you to do is to cast your 19th solar return chart, see how close the moon is, and then do a lunar return. And I mean moon to the degree, right? Which is a tropical return if you use the Earth zodiac, the tropical zodiac, like I do. All right. A fun truth, right? We were talking about many types of moons. So tropical, moon at the same zodiac degree. Well, how about synodic, moon in the same phase, right? And these things coincide, a phase return and a degree return about every 19 years, the so-called Metonic cycle, 19 years equivalent to 235 synodic months, phase months, lunations. Well, what's 235 plus 19? And the answer is 254. Okay, well, I could go on and on about 54, but that's for another time. 235 synodic months of phases, are equal to 254 tropical months, lunar returns by degree. And this is just the magic of the 19. If you're familiar with my eclipse and eclipse cycle master classes, you will know about the nodal return windows and the importance of 18 and 18.6 as well. If you would like to learn about that, join Constellations And there are like 7 hours of eclipse master classes waiting for you there, along with hundreds of hours of other teachings around earth astrology and astro tarot and astro herbalism and astro embodiment. Presentations from me and Phelan Shiva and Amala Hall and Alyssa Luna, respectively. So GeminiBrett.com/constellations or GeminiBrett.com and click the communities tab if you want to learn about accessing that material. Is this still happening? Okay, so get to know your lunar phase. Visually. And then things will happen like what I'm experiencing right now. It's like, wow, that's my moon shape. And though the moon is not in Gemini, she's 60 degrees away because the sun is 60 degrees away from my solar degree, one Scorpio, that's my phasal return. And it happens every 29 and a half days, and it will move through the signs. And in a very intriguing and beautiful torus or spiral-like shape every 19 years. Check it out. And then once you get really connected to the beauty and the importance of lunar phase return, you start understanding the magic of the phase return of other planets, like Mercury, who does this every 7 and then 6 years, kind of. He actually plays in a rhythm of 33 years. 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 7. 6, 7, 6, 7. Or Venus, who does this every 8 years, or Mars every 15 and 17 years, alternating, or Jupiter every 83 years, and I could go on and on. Definitely worthy of your investigation. Oh, the white noise of someone's lawnmower, honey. And I guess that's our cue to stop. Thanks for taking a walk with us. See you in space, friends.